So I was born and raised in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So I do say that means I'm still a Packer fan. Everything I remember about Wisconsin and Milwaukee in particular was we didn't have much, but we had everything we needed. Right? And that was, we had relationships, we had family. One of the more pivotal moments was when my mom and my dad decided not to stay together. And so then my mom was left with 4 boys in the inner city of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And at that time, there's just a lot of things that young men can get involved in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And my mom made sure that we stayed on the straight and narrow, if you will. I mean, I'm a mama's boy. And so for me, seeing my mom do what she was able to do, make miracles, right, with $15 to feed 4 boys, just really the character and integrity she had. She was very devout in her faith, right? And so seeing her live that every single day in the midst of times in which you would have thought you could have easily said, well, you know, why have faith when it doesn't seem like it's paying off? I mean, she was always able to find these gems in those really rough moments that we lived in. My dad, of course, too, so I have a really great relationship with him. Even though he left when I was pretty young, we talk every day on the phone. His commitment to bettering a community's life, right, a black community's life in Milwaukee, Wisconsin at that time and across the country also served as a role model for me as well. And so I consider him a mentor and a colleague in this work. And it kind of guides the work I do here in Mankato. And so for me, I was a basketball guy, right? Although my physical stature probably said I should have played something else, but I wanted to be Magic Johnson. I wanted to be a point guard. I played basketball day and night. Basketball landed me here. So a gentleman named Art Westfall, who was at Bethany Lutheran College at the time, he was the head coach. He's like a second father to me, right? He really is. We've developed a great relationship since 1994 when I first came here. So he simply said, hey man, I think this would be a great place for you to be. Why don't you come? I didn't take a campus visit. There's no virtual tours at that time that you could do via the internet. I showed up, right? And it was a very interesting transition. There was a lot of learning moments there just in terms of how to have conversations cross-racially, understanding those universal things that tie all of us together as human beings. And basketball played a part in that too. So, you know, bringing folks from St. James and Chaska and Mankato and other places throughout the country to come and play basketball here, understanding we all had to kind of set aside those things for the greatest good of us as a team, also helped to shape kind of my life going forward and shape kind of the philosophy I have right now and doing the work that I'm doing around community building. So there's some growing pains too. You know, I tell a story about how I kind of asked my wife to go out. I won't share that here. But that was a learning part too, right? Because the things that were effective, that I found to be effective in my home community of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, weren't as effective here in Mankato, Minnesota. And so I had to learn those things too. I think that's what I try to relay, is just this engagement, that you have to be active and engaged. You got to be willing to kind of bring your experience and your perspective to the table. Be open to what may happen, and then be willing to work with individuals, because at the end of the day, as we get to know each other as individuals, it helps us to begin to, if you will, chip away at some of those old notions and narratives about each other that once we get to know each other, we really find out. We see these commonalities. We see these differences as well, and we're going to talk about those too. But we see these commonalities, and we get to start to chip away at these notions and narratives that have permeated our communities for a long time.